It's another Getting Real with Ashleydawn. I'm Ashleydawn, and we're about to get real. So, have you ever prayed for someone, that God would touch someone, that God would get a hold of someone, or something? Maybe you've prayed, God, please let me have that promotion. Please let me, get this house that I want. Maybe please let me get into that school that I want. Whatever it is, we've all at one time or another prayed for someone or something. Sadly, our plans don't always align with God's plans, and sometimes we want things that God doesn't want for us. And so sometimes we pray for things that God doesn't answer. And the reason He doesn't answer them is because He loves us too much. He loves us too much to give us something that would hurt us if He gave it to us. He loves us too much to give us someone that would hurt us if He gave them to us. I don't know about you, but I do know about me, and I have prayed for a lot of relationships that now I realize, some 10, 15 years down the road, if God would have gave me those relationships, I would have gotten hurt in the end. Those people weren't who I thought they were. They weren't faithful. They weren't loyal. God knew their character when maybe I didn't. God knew things that they were going to do that I didn't. Or maybe it was a job that I really, really wanted. Most of you that have watched my channels know I struggle with my head and my heart. So my head tells me, Ashleydawn, you're super talented and you could do a million different jobs and you could get paid very well. I worked as a receptionist and I made $20 an hour. And it was awesome and it was wonderful. But I struggled with my heart because I knew that God had put this love for kids, and that He had put this ability to disciple and to train and to teach children, and He had given me this gift of influence that children really listened to me. And so I struggled with working at a job that I made really good money and paid all my bills, to struggling with my heart wasn't fully fulfilled. And now I'm a teacher and I teach preschoolers about Jesus every single day, and I've done that for 13 years. And I teach middle and high schoolers about Jesus, and I teach all different kinds of women about Jesus, and I love that. But financially, I'm in debt because I've had medical things and I've had different bills that came up that I couldn't afford. I had new tires that I had to buy that I did not have an emergency fund for, that I did not have a savings account for. And so now I struggle because my heart is so happy. I love what I do. I love getting to teach children how much they're loved and how special they are, but at the end of the day, it doesn't pay my bills, and at the end of the day, I'm still struggling. And so my head tells me, Ashleydawn, quit that job and get a better job. Get a job that you can financially support not only you but your mom too. And so my head and my heart struggle constantly, and sometimes I pray and I ask God, give me a better job where I'm going to make more money. And He doesn't do it. And I'm like, dang it, God, why can't I just have a job where I'm making money? All my friends are, buying houses and buying cars, and I can't even pay my bills. What the heck? And I get so frustrated, and it's like, God, why aren't you doing this? I've asked you, I've prayed, I've been faithful. Why aren't you doing it? Why are they being blessed? Why are you answering their prayers, but you're not answering mine? And it's very easy to get into a martyr complex or a woe is me, mentality of, oh God, look at everything that I'm doing. Why don't you see me, God? It would be very easy to do that, but it would be pointless and good for nothing. At the end of the day, you have to come to grips with God knows more than you do. God knows what you need more than what you want. And is that to say I'm always going to be struggling financially and I'm always going to be at the job I'm at now? No. I'm diligently looking for other jobs, and I'm praying and hoping that other opportunities present themselves to where I can get out of debt, to where I can pay all my medical bills, to where I can successfully get a house, get my own place, take care of my car, do the things that I need to do financially. But I do struggle with my heart and my head, and I pray and I pray and I pray and I ask God for direction sometimes, and I'm like, God, lead me, guide me, show me. It says in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, seek His will in all you do, and He will direct your paths, or He will make your paths straight. And so I do that. I seek His will. God, what do you want from me? How can I glorify you? God, how can I make you happy? How can I put a smile on your face? I try to focus on that every day. But sometimes I don't get the answers that I want, and it's so easy to get frustrated and be like, God, I keep praying these prayers and you ain't answering me. I keep asking for these things and you're not giving them to me. What in this is the deal? Like, do I got the wrong phone number? Like, am I calling somewhere else? Am I getting hung up at the reception desk to heaven? Because, I'm not trying to talk to the receptionist at heaven. I'm trying to talk to you. Do you ever feel like that? Or am I the only one? I don't think I'm the only one. I think you feel like that too. I think there are things and dreams and desires that you have prayed for years and years and years and years and years, and you're just as frustrated as I am that they're not fulfilled, that God hasn't came through. You know that He can. You know that God can fulfill those prayers. You know that God can fix those things that you want fixing. But why isn't He? I know that God could snap His little fingers and everything in my life could align perfectly. I know that. The problem isn't can He. It's my desires and His. My desires have to align with His desires, because if they don't, then I'm going to be wanting things that He doesn't want for me. That's a hard word. My desires have to align with His. Otherwise, I'm going to want things that He doesn't want for me. That's hard. If I'm being real, which this is getting real, I always try to get real. I want things that God doesn't want for me. Sometimes I want to have a big old fancy house. Sometimes I want to have a brand new car. Sometimes I want to have a fat bank account to where if something happens, I can just go to my savings account and not have to worry about, okay, how many photo shoots do I have to do this week? How many, extra things, little side hustles do I have to work out? What can I do to make some extra money? What can I sell? That's just my kind of mentality. I look around my room and I'm like, okay, I got jewelry I could sell. I got clothes I could sell. I got Disney stuff I could sell. What can I sell? If I got this bill paid that needs to be paid and I got to pay it and I ain't got no way to pay it, I'm going to sell what I got, right? Pawn shops make their living and their livelihood on that very thing. People that fall on hard times and don't have the money, and so they go and they pawn their item, and some of them get it back, but some of them don't. I don't even play that game. I'm like, if I'm to the point to where this bill is more important than this thing, I'm not very materialistic. If it has sentimental value, then it doesn't matter how much financial value it has. Like, sentimental wins every day. So I'm not going to sell something that means something to me. But if I got some Disney ears lying around and I know that there's a Disney resale site and I can pop them bad boys on there for 10, 20 bucks, I'm doing it. If I have a designer dress that's sitting in my closet that I know I can get money for, I'm going to put it on Poshmark, or I'm going to put it on, one of the resale sites, eBay, Etsy, and I'm going to pay my bill. If it comes between me and eating, I'm eating. But sometimes I get frustrated. I'm like, God, you could fix my financial situation. Why aren't you? I'm here doing your will. I'm teaching kids about you. I'm teaching people about you. I'm volunteering all the time. There was a time in my life where I literally worked every day, 8 to 5 at the church. I came back 6 to 9 at the church and volunteered and worked for the different ministries throughout the week. And then on Saturdays we would do outreach, and I volunteered with that. And then on Sundays I would teach 2 Sunday services. Literally, I worked 7 days a week and I still couldn't pay my bills. Isn't that crazy? And you may think, well, Ashleydawn, how could that be? You're doing all these things for God, and you're volunteering and you're helping and you're doing all these things. Like, you can't pay your bills? No, I can't. And you may be thinking, Ashleydawn, I never would have known that. Yeah, because I don't talk about it. Why? Because for one, it's none of nobody's business. And for two, because I don't do what I do for applause of people. I don't teach kids about Jesus for applause of people. I teach kids about Jesus so that they'll have a relationship with God, so that they'll have a relationship with Jesus. That's why I teach them about Jesus. That's why I teach them about God. Because I know that one day is going to come in their life and they're going to need it. They're going to fall on hard times and they're going to need God to be there with them and for them. That's why I do it. It would be real nice if I could get paid, a whole bunch. But that's a prayer that I've prayed. Another one, when my daddy had cancer. My daddy was a good man. And I would pray all the time, and I would anoint him with oil, and I would come home and I would declare that his was whole and healed. And it didn't happen on earth. And it would be so easy to get frustrated, be like, God, I prayed every single day for 3 years and you didn't heal him. Why? Or it could be for that friend that walked away from God and never looked back. You know, and in your head you could be like, God, I prayed every single day for them. God, I prayed that they would find you, and maybe they didn't. It's so easy. Or maybe you're a parent and you're watching this. I know I have a lot of moms and dads that watch this, and maybe you're a parent and you've been praying for your child to do right, or maybe to come back to God, or maybe to contact you, and you're like, I've been praying and praying and praying, and they're just not coming back. God, why aren't you answering this prayer? It's very easy to get frustrated. It's very easy to wonder, God, why? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you answering my prayer? Why aren't you listening to me? Like, do I got the wrong number? What's going on? It's very easy. But at the end of the day, you have to get the perspective. God, if it's not from you, I don't want it. And if it is from you, I can wait for it. Say that again. And a lot of times I repeat things in my videos because sometimes it's a really good word and I really want you to hear it, and sometimes we can just glaze over it. God, I want what you want from me. If it's not from you, I don't want it. And if it is from you, I can wait. I can wait for it because I know what you have for me is good, and you're not going to give me something that's not good. And so if it is good, and if it's for my good and your glory, I can wait for it. I can be patient, even though I don't want to be. I can wait. And it's hard. I get it. I'm still praying for things and trusting God for things that I don't necessarily see right now. And no, I'm not saying to pray and just ask God to do all the work, because there is some work on your part. Like for me in my job situation, like my friend actually, Alexis, helped me with my resume, updating it. And I've went on a ton of interviews, and I've talked to a ton of business owners, and I'm doing the work too. So it's not just I'm sitting back praying like, God, let the perfect job fall in my lap, which if that happened, that'd be awesome too. If you have a business, if you need somebody as passionate and as exciting as I am, I would love a job where I can make $40,000 a year. So if you have a position, let me know. I'm just kidding, but I'm not if you have that position. Anyway, my point is, we can pray sometimes for things and they don't happen. And we're like, God, what's the hold up? Like, is there a waiting line? Is it not my number? God, why don't you do this? Why didn't you do this? You can. You have all the power in the world. You have all the angels at your call. Why aren't you doing this? Sometimes God's will doesn't make sense to us. There's a verse that I love in the Bible, and it says, His ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. And I love that verse because it reminds me when I'm struggling and when I'm frustrated that what God has for me is oftentimes different than what I think or what I want for myself. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why He doesn't heal people. I don't understand why He does heal other people. I don't understand why bad things happen to good people. I don't understand. And I don't know. Like, I know that God is not mean. I know He's not going around looking for who He can hurt. I know that every single thing He does for us is to help us. And so it's very easy to, think, God, why didn't this happen? But if I could encourage you in anything in this video, instead of asking God, why did this happen? Or God, why didn't this happen? Let's flip it around and let's say, God, what are you teaching me in this? What are you teaching me as a result of that not happening? What are you teaching me as a result of you not answering my prayer? What am I gaining in this? What am I growing? You look at the story of Job in the Bible, and that became one of my favorite stories when I was going through a really hard time. And you look at this man, and he was so faithful. God even said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? He is so faithful. He loves me. So he was making God proud. God loved him, but still bad things happened. And he was tested, and all of his cattle and, livestock were taken away. His family was taken away. All these things were happening. And you're thinking like, and this was a man that loved God, and he was under all this pressure. Don't you think he prayed? I mean, it's written out, his different prayers, but he was praying too. He was asking God for help too. But God didn't help him in the way that he thought he would. God didn't help him in the way that he wanted him to. But what happened? Job's character was tested and proven. There's a verse in the Bible that says, before I knew of you, but now I know you. I had known your stories, but now I have lived them. Job got so much closer to Jesus and to God as a result of those bad things happening. He didn't curse God and die, although his wife would have liked him to do that. He said, better is the day before I was born. He was cursing himself, and now I'm not, encouraging you to do that. But he never took his eyes off Jesus. He never stopped trusting God. He never stopped saying, God, I trust you. I trust you, God. I don't understand it. I'm kind of frustrated about it, but I trust you. We need to get to a place to where we trust God with that much dependence on him and obedience in him. It says in the Bible that the end of Job's days were better than the beginning. Why? Because he was proven faithful. All those things he lost, he got back double, triple. He got more kids. He got another family. Sometimes the things that happen to us are really God's mercy and miracles happening through us. My daddy going to heaven will forever be the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. But through it, I have been able to hug other people that are going through it too. Through it, I have depended and relied on God in ways I never could before. Yes, it's frustrating when you don't make a lot of money. And when you know the value of your time and the value of what you're doing. Yes, that's frustrating. But in it, I'm learning when I can't pay my bills, God does. I'm learning that at the end of the month, when there's not a whole bunch of money left over, God comes through. People surprise me with taking me out to dinner and treating me, or taking me out on trips and treating me. I have really incredible friends. I have sisters that are financially secure and that spoil me, that take me out to fancy dinners, that take me out to fancy places that I otherwise would not be able to go to. You may be saying, Ashleydawn, I see you going to all different kinds of places, and I see you in all different kinds of pictures. Yeah, because other people have treated me to that, because other people have blessed me with that. I have one friend, Connie, who takes me out to breakfast all the time and gives me little gifts. Anyway, she was telling me, she's like, our pastor Russ was saying, if you got it, give it away. And that's how she really lives her life. If she has something, she gives it away. And is she rich? No. Does she own a big fancy house? No, she sure don't. But if she's got $5 in her pocket and there's somebody hungry, she will go get them food, or she will give them that $5, because if she has it, she gives it away. Her life has not been picture perfect. She's walked through a lot of things that other people would have crumbled under the pressure of. But she trusts God. At the end of the day, she trusts God. And she doesn't ask God, why did this happen? She says, God, what are you teaching me? She was telling me a story the other day about somebody that she was really interested in. And they died and they went to be with God. And it would have been really easy for her to get frustrated and be like, God, why did you take this person? I have another friend, Taylor. She was a couple months away from her wedding and her fiance died. He got killed on his motorcycle. And you look at that and you're like, God, why did this young man, why did he die right before his wedding? Well, I don't have the answers, but I do know that God is good. And if I can trust that God is good in the midst of all the not good things that have happened in my life, and if I can still see his hand helping me pay my bills, helping me do the things that I can't do, then I'm here to encourage you. You can trust him and you can count on him too. Why didn't God do that thing you've been asking him to do? Maybe because he's doing something different through you. Let's change our perspective. Instead of saying, God, why didn't you do this? Why did you do this? And say, God, what lesson do I need to learn in this moment? What are you teaching me? What are you growing in me? What spiritual muscle is growing? What do I need to learn here? What are you adding to my life that I can't quite see the value of yet? God, help me. Help me to see the value that maybe sometimes I don't see. Help me to see what you're doing, because sometimes I struggle. Sometimes I struggle seeing it. I hope this encouraged you. I'm going to the Unicorn Festival with my homies, with my friends. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if you can tell my little unicorn hair. I just need like a horn or something. And my little unicorn earrings from my sister girl, Courtney. I want you to know that you're loved and that God's with you and that God's for you and that you are not alone. Even when you feel like it, even when you struggle, you are not alone. God loves you. I love you. He's got big, awesome, wonderful plans for you. I hope you know how special you are. I hope you know how much he loves you. I love you too, but he will always love you more. God's got big plans for you. You can trust him. You can trust him with the unknowns. You can trust him with all the prayers that he hasn't answered in the way that you wanted him to. You can trust him. Hope this encouraged you. Catch you in the next one.